Hello, my name is Yunhui, a sophomore student in the Department of Life Sciences. My research topic for the proposal is the following: an explanation of the role of dopamine in motivation and development of addictive behaviors. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter located in the neuron, the brain cells. It acts as a chemical messenger and therefore engages with different animal behaviors and functions such as pleasure, movement, memory, and more. And while the role of dopamine is numerous, my paper will be focusing on how dopamine stimulates the feeling of motivation. It will partially explain why dopamine is not only a pleasure-conferring molecule, but a motivation-conferring molecule. Then, I will build a connection between motivation and the development of addictive behaviors. Here, addictive behavior is a broad term, including not only abuse of drug substances, but also negative, repetitive interactions with compulsive actions. The study of dopamine is directly related to my major through fundamental concepts in neuroscience and cellular biology. The professional knowledge to be explored in the paper is biological reasoning and apprehending human actions. And this is vital because addiction is a major global health crisis, especially more so in the modern society with limitless stimulants. Building a background knowledge and understanding of the basic mechanisms behind addiction at a molecular level would enable us to comprehend ourselves better and search for not only medical but social ways to resist falling into a spiral of addiction in the future. I chose this topic because I personally connected with the devastation of being a part of addiction. And while I'm not medically diagnosed with chronic addiction, I'm sure that for all 21st century social beings, it will be hard to deny that they've performed a compulsive action despite the negative effects at one time or another. And I felt to my skin that society only grows more saturated with diverse, abundant addictive materials such as media, drugs, food, etc., and is also increasingly exposed to it from an early age. So, it will be crucial to take a moment to observe and know the biological mechanism behind this in order to not succumb to self-sabotage. I believe that this logical understanding is the first step to protecting ourselves from the so-called pleasure molecule. Prior to deeper research, I'm familiar with the term dopamine, which is now increasingly recognized by non-professionals too. I'm also vaguely aware that dopamine is highly involved in the feeling of pleasure and that excessive dopamine is not favored and could cause a dysfunction in the brain. But my research recently in this field has shown me that dopamine has much more contribution to our neural tendencies than this. And this generic knowledge will be looked into further through a professional biological lens to precisely define the events that occurred to lead to motivation and partially addiction. This paper will not specifically look at any addictive substance in particular, but will explain the biological mechanisms through which dopamine functions. My first source in this research is the book Dopamination: Finding Balance in the Age of Indulgence, written by Dr. Anna Lemke, published in 2021. The book provides information on the mechanism and the role of dopamine for a wide range of public readers. The source particularly highlights the vulnerability of humans to addictive substances and the behaviors in this abundant modern society. Dr. Anna Lemke, the author, is a professor of psychiatry and addiction medicine at Stanford University School of Medicine, making this source much more reliable. This book will not only function as a great source of understanding the basic mechanisms of dopamine, but also a compendium of different trustable journals on dopamine. Another source that I'll be using is this journal titled Addiction, Decreased Reward Sensitivity and Increased Expectation Sensitivity Conspire to Overwhelm the Brain's Control Circuit, written by Volkow, ND, and more. The journal elaborates on the overall responsive changes made to the neurotransmitter and receptors in neurons upon the introduction of an abusive substance, establishing a cause and effect relationship between dopamine and addiction. It explains the downregulation process in response to changes in dopamine release quantity and speed, which is crucial to understand its impact on development of addiction and relapse. As seen, this journal has been peer-reviewed prior to publication 15 years ago, with the author Volkow being a renowned expert associated with the National Institute on Drug Abuse, the US. Thank you.